Goodness. You guys see that Breath of the Wild 2 got delayed?
I saw your post.
Yeah. Spring 2023, they say.
Woo.
It's just funny. People get so mad about these delays. And I mean, I lived through Twilight Princess. I remember what that was like. We've all seen games get delayed.
I remember No Man's Sky. It was like, yeah, it'll be ready in 2014. Just kidding. It'll be 2015. Well, so 2016 is a great year for releasing a game. Just kidding. So we're actually going to release it in 2017, and everything we said we were going to release it with, we're actually going to strip all of that out of the game, and you're literally just able to fly around planets and look at animals. And then what we're going to do is put that stuff into the game in the next coming like 6 years. But you don't know that because weren't going to do that until you complained that the game was very barren. So now we're doing that.
Yeah, No Man's Sky is a crazy story. I feel like I was so interested in it when I first heard about it, and then either I didn't have the right system for it or I just didn't care enough to actually get it. And then I heard all the reviews and I was like, well, I'm definitely not getting it now. And now I've been tempted to play it so many times because I've heard that it's a lot better, but I don't know. I got these glasses off my face. I don't need them. I don't need them for recording.
Boop bop.
Recording time.
I hope I sound good.
My ears work better when my eyes are hindered. You know what I mean?
Actually, when you say that, I feel the same way because I've been living, I don't have contacts for the last month. I've been wearing my glasses more, and like driving becomes a nightmare, but I can hear so much better.
You just need to roll down your window when you drive, and that way you'll know where everything
I can hear everything. I'm walking Cinder at nighttime without my glasses on. I hear everything. The leaf rustles in the distance 1.25 miles away. I can hear it.
Like Daredevil out there. Just got like sonar.
There's an earthquake in Cuba. 8.1.
Oh my God.
Wow.
All right, I just finished my bang, so I'm good.
What? Bro.
Bruh.
You planning on sleeping tonight? Sounds like maybe not.
My man getting white at 11.
I mean, I do got some more work to do.
He's got another 2 podcasts to record after this one.
Welcome back to A4NB4Y, the Zelda theme podcast that's currently diving into A Link to the Past. And in the last episode, we beat the snot out of Aghanim, and as a reward, we were thrown into the Dark World, landing on top of the Pyramid of Power. And from there, we continue Link's journey. I'm Cameron Hagee, as always, and these are my co-hosts.
I'm Ryan Fonzie, a stuffed acorn squash.
And I am Tony D. Giggles. Ba 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 da da ba 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 da da ba da 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 da. Basically a Dark World theme.
Okay.
The best song to ever grace a Zelda game.
You're talking about the actual Dark World theme?
The overworld theme. Right when we get hit, starting this episode off on top of that pyramid.
I like the victory theme. I'm not going to lie. It's pretty great.
Yeah, the
Little fanfare whenever you get the last bit out of a dungeon.
All it's missing is the little Kirby dance.
and the stars coming out.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. All right. Cool. So music aside,
we're in Egypt, you know?
Huh? Oh yeah, we're on top of a pyramid. The pyramid of power.
Power.
And we get a message from Sahasrara. It's like, do the thing. We talked about the message last episode, so like I don't really know. He's just basically like, yeah, if you the only way you're gonna save the world you know is to go through and rescue all the maidens out of this one. And I think he gives you the location of the first dungeon, which is like interesting because it's actually right next to the Dark World counterpoint or counterpart to where he is in the Light World. So yeah.
Also in the same spot that the first dungeon we did is in, pretty much.
Yeah. So Sahasrara is just apparently an expert on that whole area, regardless of what world.
He's been to the Dark World many times.
Well, I mean, he's supposed to be like a descendant of one of the wise men, so it's, I don't think he's been able to freely move from world to world, but for some reason he has this innate knowledge and ability to edit our map even from across the void. Sahasrara is more powerful than this game lets on.
Wisdom and power run through this man's veins.
I mean, he is that crown chakra or whatever, so who knows?
He's the all-knowing.
And he somehow taps into those points in the dungeon just to talk to you. Knows exactly where you are in each dungeon. Oh yeah, the item you about to get? Yeah, I know about that ID. You're gonna like it. Use it to do this.
Yeah, and
wait, why are you doing this again?
Also, who's the one who went into both the Light World and the Dark World's dungeons just setting up like intercom systems for Sahasrara to talk to?
Right.
Like, who was that guy who did that? Sahasrara's just like, all right, well, gotta install in this intercom system.
He paid the monkey.
Enuma, I think that's who. I don't know.
Nah, man. He paid the monkey 5,000 coins. It was like, yo, put these in.
But he got to deal with that monkey, though.
Got to deal with that monkey.
Oh man! All right, so as we head over, we notice a couple things different. I mean, aside from the castle being a pyramid, all of the yard enemies have been replaced with nightmare creatures. Hinoxes, I know, are one of them. They have bombs in this one, folks, and they have a lot of health as well. And then
they do
some kind of claptrap thing, like from straight out of Donkey Kong with crazy blue hair. It actually looks like a Fraggle Rock monster, just like bouncing around trying to eat you.
Yup.
And some other one. I mean, I'm not the creature expert. I'm sure Anthony knows the names of all these things, but
I actually couldn't find the names to the skull dog thing. I really couldn't. The floating things are just the bubbles, the curses, the skulls like that come out of the rocks. And then there's the Hinoxes, Bokoblins, but yeah, I honestly Terrapins are another enemy, but yeah. Weird Dark Soulsy dog creatures that have weird attack patterns. Not a clue.
Which one's the Terrapin?
The Terrapin is
the one with the
like,
elephant nose looking thing, right?
No, it's like the weird shelled turtle things.
Oh, the red-shelled turtles that you got to use the thing we haven't gotten yet for?
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. They're in the dungeon.
Yeah,
I think those are like the only new enemies that like they've added, but yeah, I couldn't find
the
that.
Dark World is just like a crazy like flip from what we're used to. Like everything is just more dangerous. I would go so far as to call it a difficulty spike going, because we just got the Master Sword that made the knights in the Light World like nothing. They just made them obsolete, and then we get to the Dark World and it's like, well, here's some enemies that aren't obsolete. So deal with that. Like,
pretty much. You get the Master Sword, you go through the castle feeling invincible, and then you get thrown into a world where you're just like on par again.
Yeah. Few
Definitely took a while.
At least for this part of the game, a few notable differences is that we can go to, like, if you go to the witch's hut, I don't know if it's a moblin or what. It's like somebody set up a shop inside the hut. It's like one of the Dark World buildings instead. I think you can actually go all the way up the river if you want and get the Bombos medallion right now. Or no, the Quake medallion. You can get the Quake medallion already, I think.
Oh, that's a strong attack.
Yeah, I didn't get it right away. I didn't get it until after 2 more dungeons from here, but it's up there. I think the only thing blocking you is a big rock. Other than that, you have everything you need. So
I'm probably not going to grab it right away because I'll be tempted to just clear rooms with it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even realize, because I never played this game before. I was just exploring, and I saw a circle of rocks, read the message on the sign. It was like,
The message on the sign is hilarious.
It's like, curses anyone who throws something into my circle of stones. And I was like, we bout to get cursed, boys. And then I chucked the thing away. And I was like, oh, I get a present for this? Awesome.
I threw a couple of bombs in and they didn't work. So then I grabbed a big skull rock and threw that in. And the guy came out and he's like, listen, if you leave me alone, I'll give you this. I was like, all right.
Deal.
By the way,
What's up?
found out what they're called. It is a snapdragon.
Oh, that's fitting.
Yep.
Tis.
Snapdragon. That's it. And then the guys with the spear dinosaur helmet with the tapered off spear are called Taros.
Are those the one? Wait,
And those guys.
the little spear that's got like, it looks like they like tied a ball of fabric to the end of it. It's got like a little.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Very weird enemy design, but yeah, they're called Taros.
Gotcha.
Nothing really proved to be hard except for Hinoxes. You know, they take like 17 Master Sword hits from range.
Yeah, they're
I didn't count, but I did sit there for quite a while doing it. I agree.
just spamming the button on them. Yeah, I've done that. I've gotten like cornered them against the wall or something and just like
Yeah, you spam it.
did the Ninja Blender Will It Blend challenge and eventually
Ninja Blender.
it reminds me of
The slap chap.
the big moblins in Skyward Sword, how you have to hit them like 24 times.
Mm-hmm.
Just same kind of deal. Like here's just a sword sponge of an enemy. Craziness.
That also chucks range bombs at you that explode faster than normal.
Right, so you don't really have time to throw them back.
No, not at all.
Yeah, so we make our way over to the little desert canyon area that Sahasrara was in before. Now, did either of you guys like find the actual building that corresponds to Sahasrara's building?
No.
Maybe? I did explore that area a lot, but it's kind of confused. It's like a maze, so I was kind of lost.
It is a maze that you can't even see.
Yeah, I found it. I mean, I went in. There's just a little guy who's been turned into a tree. And the little tree guy tells you, like, he asks you, like, oh, are you here looking for the golden power? He's like, yeah, somebody already came and got it. And then, there's Ganondorf, he came and got it. And he's like, yeah, it's kind of a reckless thing to just leave lying around like that, the golden force. I'm like, yeah, I'd say so. Was this really where it was held, just in this room, or what? Like, why was it here?
That's hilarious.
And he's like, now the only way to fix this world or to stop it, he like basically gives a little more backstory about the Triforce and how. And when I say more backstory, I mean he reiterates some backstory about whoever has it. The world changes according to who they are. He's like, the only way to stop it is to defeat the person who has it, who made the changes in the first place. So it's like, yeah, it's like don't know why they just left it out in the open. And if you go behind this guy, there's just a little like supply room that you can break into. It gives you like bombs and arrows and stuff. It's nothing major, but cool little Easter egg, I guess, if you didn't find it, because it doesn't really do anything for you story wise. You don't get any items for doing it. It's just you just run into a guy who's like was too late. It's like, yeah, Ganondorf already got it, so
we're off to find the Ganon.
Silliness.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and it's like one of the first mentions of Ganon in the game, if you do that. So, that was interesting as well. The other thing about this area is that this is where we run into Kiki, right?
Kiki!
Yeah.
Kiki the monkey.
Just kind of, we walk into a part of the maze and everything's normal, and we walk out, and then, there's a monkey behind us.
Right, because it's like a pagoda
jump scare.
maze. It's got vines and stuff above, so you can't really see yourself very well while you're in it. You can just kind of see some holes that indicate where the paths are.
Yeah.
You come out and there's a little monkey who is obscured by the trees.
I came up with a nickname for him called Kiki the Beggar.
Oh, you think Kiki's a beggar? I think Kiki's a swindler. I think Kiki be scheming out here.
He'd be scheming these streets. He's forced.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, because like I think Kiki is someone who went to the dark world, kind of like the tree person, right? Went to the dark world,
Mhm.
got transformed into their true form, and their true form was this mischievous little monkey. And so now Kiki follows. He's like, "Hey, give me 10 rupees, and I'll follow you around for a little bit. It might be 20, I don't remember." And I'm like,
I'll show you around.
what's the use of that? Like, you didn't need, like, you're not talking to me, you're not showing me anything, you're just following me, and you want me to pay you for that? And turns out if you don't do it, I mean, you don't progress. So you gotta do that.
Gotta get swindled.
And then you get up to the temple, and they're like, "Oh, so you're trying to get inside, huh? Listen, if you give me 90 rupees, I can get the door open for you." And like, you can choose, like, I'll try to get it myself, or you can just cough up the cash. But once again, if you don't pay, you're not getting in this temple. So Kiki's running a con over here, man.
Kiki's probably the one that locked the door, but I mean, Kiki gotta survive out here too. It's a Kiki eat Kiki world.
Right? Kiki's trapped in this land, like gotta make a living somehow.
Yeah, so we cough up our hard-earned rupees to Kiki here and kind of climbs on up the building, hops on up, and like pushes down on something and evens out the sides. Like there was one part that was sticking up that the other side already pushed down, and Kiki just kind of pushes that part down, and the door opens.
Yeah, and we get inside the Palace of Darkness.
Worst temple so far.
Worst temple. No, I'm pretty sure just worst just worst.
Just a side note, Kiki is a recurring character in the Zelda series, so we will meet other Kikis as we go, but also the name is just an onomatopoeia for the noise a monkey makes. Like typically it comes with a counterpart named Ook, so it's Ook and Kiki. So, just another little piece of trivia about Kiki. But yeah, Palace of Darkness.
Is it over yet?
No, we just started.
We just got here.
First thing I saw were these two statues of like Igors, but I'm pretty sure they're just statues. So
yeah,
a lot of that happens in this game. And then, did anybody go like straight through the middle first? Because that never really works out.
No,
I went left first, which ended up being the right choice because you only have to go left once to grab the small key.
Yeah, a lot of I'm like looking at the map of the dungeon here just to try to help me remember like the main events. And honestly, like this, it starts out pretty bland.
It's pretty smooth.
Yeah.
It's pretty smooth to start out.
You're like, oh, that difficulty spike must have been nothing.
Yeah, right? It's like, oh, I'm in the dark world now. What is this?
Yeah, this is nothing.
Yeah, the enemies in here aren't too crazy. I mean, there's like some Kadangos that we fought before.
Yeah.
There's a few that are placed a little bit obnoxiously. I'm thinking of a bridge that collapses underneath your feet, and there just happens to be Kadangos on the bridge as well that do not make things easy.
Oh, that part.
Yeah. Yeah, some goofy jumps that we need to do, some easy like color switches to hit, like some places where we need to like drop a bomb and then run back through some color switches. Like, we're not known for doing our walkthroughs of temples here, so
there was a new variety of the skeleton enemy though, where they drop down and their body kind of crumbles right away, and then their head just starts spinning and homing in on you and chasing you for a while.
Oh yeah.
I actually don't.
So that's kind of a new thing. There was like a small key down there, but it is an optionally skippable small key because there is one locked door in this temple you don't ever need to open. It's just a shortcut to get back.
Oh.
Well, let me get started.
Yeah, no, me too, bruh. So you fell for the door as well.
Oh.
And then every guide is like, yeah, don't open that door. I'm like, but I did.
I thought that I was like save locked out of completing this dungeon. Like I had thought for a good 10 minutes at least, 10, 15 minutes of frustration that the developers really did forget to put enough keys for the amount of doors in this dungeon. When you get past the long bridge where you can see the giant treasure chest across the gap on the left, You go to the right and there's that missing door you put in. Well, the very beginning of the map, there's a treasure chest room that's above a set of like bonky moles that come out of the ground. And I didn't know how to get into that room. There was like a little crack in the wall after jumping across a gap that you need to get to. And I, for 30 minutes of being in this dungeon, or maybe longer, didn't see this crack in the wall at the very bottom right of the map. So I'm sitting here thinking that I just used my last small key to get to a door that is useless, where I needed to use the small key to get into the darkened, blacked out maze area on the very, very left of the map to eventually get something we're going to talk about soon. So I'm sitting here freaking out for about 30 minutes to an hour, just like, I don't know where to go. I don't know where to go. I don't know where to go. I'm searching through the entire temple. I didn't find the door to blow up in the bottom right of the map. So I looked online, like, okay, I'm going to do it. I don't like doing this, but I'm going to do it. I looked it up. They're like, don't worry. There's a small key in the bottom right of the map that you may have missed. You just have to blow open a hole in the thing. I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah, it's in the room with the teleporter, right?
Yeah. It took me another 30 minutes to still find the room.
Room with the teleporter.
Oh, I hated it.
It took me a bit too. So there's a couple teleporters in the dungeon that take you from the dark world, I think, back to the light, and they always teleport you to the same room, which is the one when you first start the temple, and there's that 3-way split. If you go to the right, it'll take you down to the room I'm talking about. Oh. And from that room at the very bottom, there's a wall with a crack. And through that crack, there's like an additional 3 rooms you go through, including one with conveyor belts, to find a small key that is optional if you don't open that door that me and Mayo opened that we shouldn't have.
Huh.
Did you do that, or did you grab the small key and just immediately head to the maze like is better too?
When I got into that room and saw the big chest over there, and it was to the left, I think that was the way I went first.
Yeah, so you skip that.
You get another key in the maze because you actually don't get the item yet. Like I got to the chest and was like, okay, so now I know how to get to it, but I didn't have the big key yet. So I was like, well, at least I know where I need to go. And then I came back out.
Yeah, it's that bridge, the room with the bridge that collapses is the room that splits it between the 2 options, where you can either get the small key and go back to the maze room like you did because you're like, ooh, big chest, which I'm pretty sure is what I did almost every other time I went through this dungeon. Or you could do what me and Mayo did, is when you come out of the room where you got the small key, there's a locked door to the bottom of that room right in front of you. And if you don't go back going for that big chest, then you end up just creating a path to go back to another room you've already been to with no additional, like, anything to get for it. It's basically a completely useless path you don't even ever need to go down.
Yep.
And if you do, you have to backtrack to basically the beginning of the dungeon and find a cracked wall at the very bottom of a random little room. And that's the...
Yeah, here's the thing. I still did that. Because I went into the maze and got the small key from the maze, and then went to the right and still went the whole path, and was like, all right, okay, so where does this put me? But I did know about the cracked wall already because I played this game just last year. So when I got into the room with the map, there's a crack on either side, and the one on the right actually goes to a fairy fountain, and the one on the left is the one you need to get the last key.
Yeah, and you can even see the chest like on the left.
I still have both my fairies.
Yeah. How far through the game are you, Anthony?
I mean, I did.
Did you stop after this dungeon?
No, I didn't do any other dungeons, but I did do some like mini games and like other things that are around the dark world.
Yeah, because what
that's about
it. Say about this little trick right here with the whole bomb walls being necessary, possibly. If you didn't know that you could like subvert it, I guess, or sidestep it. Is that this is like the first of a couple tricks like this that this game pulls. Like this is probably the first major one, and I don't know if the developers are just trying to teach you to pay closer attention to bomb walls because they're going to be critical now moving forward, or what. But yeah, this is just one of those things where the game's like not super clear about, and
I feel like that's
gotta inspect your walls.
Like I just think it's in the. How do I word this? I think it's just in terms of layout and how they went about it. So if we're taking for example, the bomb wall, that's where the treasure chest is on the big bridge room, the big treasure chest. obviously we see the big treasure chest. And then once we go into that room and then there's the blacked out maze, we know there should be something leading towards that chest, right? If you're thinking clearly. So we make our way to like the right side of the wall. And of course, in that very dark room, there's a bomb wall crack there. So that's more like laid out to where you can kind of see to where the bomb wall would be. I can see how that might trip some people up, but that one's laid out so that you can figure out. I feel like the one on the bottom of the map is just in a place where it's really hard to see the crack in the wall if you're not checking literally every single room for a chest or a bomb wall or something like that.
The developer that put it there was in his "I'm so random" phase.
Like, oh my god, and I'm just gonna put a crack here.
You remember that random room that serves almost no purpose? Let's just put something at the bottom that's the hardest to see the entire time, and you basically have to go down there to look at nothing just to find it, just to have the last small key they're gonna need. Like, honestly, that's how I felt when I found that wall, when I found what they were talking about. I'm like, really? This is where it was? This is like the most random, out-of-the-way little room that you could go to. But on the other hand, it is also one of the few rooms that you get literally teleported right to multiple times and from multiple places throughout the dungeon. So you have multiple opportunities to see it.
Yeah.
So it's fair in both aspects, I guess. I did think about that. I was like, yeah, they do teleport you to this room from 2 different areas in the dungeon if you go there. So fair enough.
And even then, though, like once I had read the walkthrough, it took me a while to find out which teleporter was the right. First off, how to get to any of the teleporters, back to them. Second off, find the right teleporter to get to the room. I got to the room once, didn't realize that it was that room. So I passed by it again. I was like, why is there these weird worm things yet? Because it was item you need to use to hit them. So I'm like, why are these weird things here? And then I left and then came back to that room like another 15 minutes later. I was like, oh. And once I saw the crack in the wall, I got so mad. I was like, I need ice cream right now.
You know what else is funny too? Is that we were both struggling so hard in that, and all we had to do was use the mirror to go back to the beginning of the dungeon and then run to the right.
Yep.
Like, that's literally where the room was. We had an item in our inventory that would have basically taken us right outside of it the whole time, and we're just like running through the dungeon like, where is it? Where is it?
Other than that, the dungeon itself, the enemies weren't hard. It was just really that layout. The Gorayas, which are like the Kung Fu mice, they threw me off a little bit. The red one threw me off a little bit, just because I didn't realize how to
splits into the small
defeat it.
ones.
No, because it's the Goraya is the mouse that like copies your every move, so you have to shoot it with an arrow and move to the left real quick. I didn't realize how to defeat it at first. I threw everything at it: bombs, boomerangs, ice rod, candlestick.
It didn't care about the bomb. It didn't care about arrows though. It like make
really
it catch
strange.
your arrow. That was
I think arrows is all you can use.
Yeah.
And then when you had told me about the fire shield from the one episode that we went over, I got the fire shield, came back to the dungeon, and was like, I'll just tank this fireball. Nope. You can tank the Medusa statues, but you can't tank this guy's fireball. He's God or something. God Goraya.
Really?
Fireball.
I tanked one of his.
Really?
Yeah, I tanked one of his fireballs and then just stood still and shot him with 2 arrows.
Oh, he hit me through it. I don't know. I got maybe because you're on a different.
Oh, he definitely hit me, but he only shoots once if you don't keep moving, I think.
Maybe it was like just a different version because like you're on GBA. Maybe they fixed it.
Oh yeah.
Because I definitely got hit by it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I got hit by it.
It's not like foolproof. You can still get hit past your shield if you're not lined up quite right. I know it's really annoying. But yeah, so we make our way through this stuff. I mean, there's a bunch of random other stuff. I mean, I think we talked about like the worst of it.
Well, I guess we could mention the weapon that we get here in a sec after we blow open the wall that Anthony was talking about.
Yeah. So we get the big key. I think the big key. Is that something you have to drop down onto? I feel like it's like super random where it is because it's like hidden behind a giant block, and to get to it, you have to do some kind of gymnastics. But yeah, when we get the big key, we can go open up that big chest that's through the labyrinth, and it is the hammer. It's a mallet, but it's the hammer.
The hammer.
The magic mallet.
We can bonk stuff.
You can bonk stuff now. Turns out, I guess if you freeze stuff and then bonk it, you can get magic potions by doing that. I haven't actually tried it yet.
Huh.
Pretty cool.
Good to know.
Like the little magic drops that refill your meter.
Yeah.
Nice.
But of course, the ice rod takes magic, so it's like, I guess you're trying to get a profit in the end. I don't know how well it works, but that's what I've heard. It's one of those tricks, like using the magic dust on the anti-fairies.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can use this to flip some enemies over. There's like, those weird turtle enemy things that you were talking about, Anthony. You just, smash the ground, they all flip over like the slugs in Ocarina of Time, and then you can beat them into the ground after that.
Terrapins.
Yeah, so I know what was happening to me is I would hit one. There'd be like a group of 4 of them, right? I hit one, or I'd hit the ground and they all flip over, and then I would hit one and the other 3 would flip back over.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no. And I definitely took some damage fighting these things just because of that.
There's like that room. I think it's pretty close to where you enter to go into the boss room. There's a room where there's like 5 or 6 of them. It's blacked out, and you just have to like guess where they are and flip them over. You know what everyone's talking about?
I'm pretty sure the room you're talking about does have 2 lightable torches in it, though.
It does, but they only.
And I just ran in there and lit them.
Time.
Yeah, I killed all the turtles within the time limit.
The first time, like it was so annoying because it was like what Fonzie was talking about. I'd flip 2 of them and then go to kill them, but then I'd flip like another one. And I was like, no, stay back over.
I did that like 3 or 4 times, and then I learned the radius of the hammer, and I was able to do it pretty well and not flip the ones over that I already flipped.
Yeah.
The radius on the hammer really isn't all that big. It seems like it is. Maybe it is in your version. I don't know how much it changed to the Game Boy, but in that one, it's not all that big.
Oh, it's not too big.
No, it's not huge. But yeah. I mean, I think that's like the last couple of challenges they throw at us are those enemies up until we get to the actual boss room, which
yeah, we take a teleporter to like a long epic hallway with like a bunch of turtles, and then boom, boss room.
Yeah, you guys go to the
easy boss,
collect all the blue rupees.
Yes,
get all our money back for that Ukiki stole.
And there's also 2 anti-fairies if you need to fill your bottles again.
Yeah. Honestly, like I turned them into fairies just so that I could just collect the rupees without worrying about them. It's like, here, you're harmless. Now this treasure is mine.
Yes.
But when we do get to the boss, it is, I mean, in my head, this is King Dodongo. I don't know if that's actually what it's named in this one.
In this game, he's actually named Kodongo. No, it's the Helmasaur King.
The Helmasaur King.
And he's actually a species of Kodongo. Fun fact.
A species of Dodongo. Okay.
So he's basically King Dodongo, but they gave him a title.
Well, there were Helmasaurs
and a helmet
in Twilight Princess too, right? Like that's when they finally came back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Took them a while. Took them a while to circle that lap there.
Yeah.
Pretty good enemy. And
so we gotta bonk him on the head.
We got a nice mallet. He's got a nice skull mask that's protecting him just a little too well. So we gotta go bonk it off.
Yeah, ripe for the bonkening.
Ripe for the bonkening. Chip away at it like a stone cutter we are. And eventually it comes falling off. He gets kind of angry, and then we can just start fighting him for real.
He starts moving fast, and you use your sword now.
Yeah. He likes to... Does he spit fire? I feel like he spits fire.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. So he's got, like, his most of his moves are he either, like, dashes straight at you, which you got to back up. He'll shoot 1 fireball that stops and then spits into 3 fireballs that all split into, I think, 4 after that and then shoot out.
Yeah. No,
and then... That. Yeah, and then he's got like a little dance he does, and then he throws his spike tail to the side, which is easily dodgeable if you're just in front of him bonking him.
Yeah, I think I overthought the tail thing. So I would I would see it coming and be like, oh, I gotta move out of the way, and it never worked. I would end up moving into it. Like it would kind of home in on you if you weren't right in front of him.
Yeah, honestly, the safest spot in this fight is right in front of his face, and you kind of you should have at least 1 or 2 fairies at this point. You just tank it when he runs at you because it's really hard to react if you're hitting him, but the tail is completely useless if you're right in front of him, and you can tell when he's going to shoot the fireball because he opens his mouth.
Yeah.
So you just kind of stand in front of them and bonk them the whole fight and then start slashing them.
Yep.
Pretty simple.
We get our first, we defeat him, and we find our first of the 7 maidens.
Mm.
Kind of a cool point, because like every one of these maidens drops just a little bit more lore about the story. This one, not too crazy, because if you talk to the little tree person that I talked to, she says almost the same stuff. Basically, she says that they're planning on breaking the 7 wise men's seal, and the only way to do that is to collect up the 7 maidens and use their power collectively to do that. Like they need to basically like reassemble the team in order to destroy the seal that was set up by a team. And if they can do that, if they can break open the seal, then they'll basically be invading the light world. And so she's like, the only way to save both worlds is for you to take on this evil before it is able to come to fruition. It's like, if you go and save the other maidens, then I will return to my normal form along with the others, and we will be able to put a stop to this. So then, she asks you if you understand, and, normally I say yes. You can say no, but I don't really think it does anything except maybe make them repeat themselves.
Probably.
And then, you
Do we get a heart container?
get a heart container. There's a phrase that they always drop, which is like, may the path of the hero lead to the Triforce, which is super may the force be with you-ish, because of how they all say it at the end of their lines. But this one's just a mission statement. She gives us the map of all the other dungeons. She says, I'm going to mark the rest of them, like 2 through 7, all on the map. And we are able to leave the Palace of Darkness with 1 maiden rescued.
And a bonky boy to continue to explore the dark world further.
Continue to bonk.
Continue to bonk. From what I understand, there's only one thing to do with that mallet right now, and that's just to get to the next place. I don't know too many other spots to bonk just yet.
The hammer really only gets us to the next area. I think it's usable in a few caves here or there if we find them. And then it's going to be used in dungeons further, obviously.
Yeah, side missions and stuff too. Like that's, yeah. But really, right now we're kind of railroaded to our next temple, which is fine. Like, so, and that's where we're kind of gonna leave off for today, I would think. Until
we'll get to that on our next episode.
Yeah, exactly. So catch us again next time on A for No, B for Yes. We have a manga to look at though, don't we?
We do.
We do. I'm gonna take a seat for this because I stand for our actual main content.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. But when we read the manga,
I think this is a viewer first.
I have to. What? What's a viewer first?
I think this is a viewer first. I didn't know you stand for the podcast.
Yeah, no. I try to stand because my chair makes awful noises. But when I am reading off of Wiki, I have to sit down so I can look at my monitor straight on. The Ishinomori.
Yeah.
Past manga. I don't even remember where we at. We're pretty far in now.
I think we're into chapter 6 somewhere. Yeah, I finished at the end of the first paragraph of chapter 6.
Gotcha. The Fool in the Shape of
And
the Tree.
since-
Yeah, because we landed on the Pyramid of Power. There we go.
Since I read a chunk last time, someone else want to?
Alright.
Sure. I'm trying to think. How are we? I
Trying
don't
to
even
see
know.
where we end
I don't
up
even
at.
know where to end anymore. Yeah.
Let's look ahead at where the paragraphs end.
7. Palace of Darkness.
7 is the Palace of Darkness.
So we can end basically at the end of 7.
Okay.
What looks to be.
Okay. So do you want to read anything, or you want me to read it?
I'll finish out 6 and then you can do 7.
Okay.
All right. So we left off with Hyrule Castle crumbling, revealing the Pyramid of Power. Frustrated for having disappointed Zelda again, Link is momentarily transformed into a beast by his negative emotions, but he manages to control them to remain in human form. He then resumes his search for the princess, determined to find her, but first stumbles into a shrine where he can rest before going on. As Link begins to sleep, as he begins to fall asleep, a small tree that was inside the shrine begins to tell him the story of the Triforce and the Golden Land. The tree goes on to explain that only the first to touch the Triforce will be endowed with its strength, and that the land where they are now used to be the Golden Land, where the Triforce was hidden, He speaks, of course, Ganondorf the thief, who accidentally stumbled upon the entrance to the Golden Land, accidentally, and had his evil wishes granted by the Triforce. After touching the Triforce, Ganondorf achieved ultimate power and transformed the Golden Land into the Dark World, which caused for many men from Hyrule to be drawn to the land of evil only to be converted into monsters because of their impure thoughts and emotions, including the tree himself. The tree makes a final comment that Link must defeat Ganondorf and reclaim the Triforce to restore the Dark World into the Golden Land, at which point Link wakes up, confused. Was that a dream? Upon leaving the shrine, Link is confronted by 3 thieves and a Hinox, who asks him about a fairy they are pursuing for her magic power. When Link tells them he does not have the fairy, the monsters attack him anyway. But the young hero easily defeats them with the use of the Master Sword, and by throwing the Hinox's own bombs back at it. After the Hinox explodes, the fairy appears next to Link.
So do we want to talk about this chunk now, or just do the whole thing at once when we're done reading it?
I kind of want to talk about this chunk right now because this is pretty much what happened in, like, if you went and talked to the tree in the game, I mean, you didn't transform back and forth from being the monster and all that, but, you know, you do go talk to a little tree who tells you about the Triforce and how Ganondorf got it. So, yeah, no, that's pretty much, like, right in line with the game. That whole first chapter.
I do love the part where they say that Ganondorf accidentally stumbled into the Golden Land.
Right, like he didn't kill all of his followers.
And yeah, like what?
Like on their search to find it. Yeah, no, it's nonsense. I think in the scuffle, like somebody else could have touched the Triforce first, but I guess not. Anyway.
And then the whole part about him meeting Hinox thieves. And they're looking for a fairy, and they're like, give us the fairy. And Link's like, I don't know. And the monster's like, ugh. And then he does something impossible. He throws the Hinox's bombs back at them, but they cannot be because they blows up too fast.
Right. We specifically mentioned that, which is kind of funny because I did not read this before making that comment. Oh, goodness. So they're looking for a fairy, huh? It's interesting.
And so Link cuts him down, and then...
So how are the 3 thieves... I mean, there's 3 thieves and a Hinox walk into a bar, right? Like what is... Like, why do they... Like, what form are the thieves taking? I wonder if they're just, like, regular dudes and they just weren't transformed. I would be pretty impressed by that.
if you see, it says he woke up from the shrine. Like, he woke up and was like, oh, am I not here? Like, was I not there? And then he leaves the shrine and then gets confronted by the thieves and the Hinox. The thieves, I think, were just taking the form of a human, as like the thieves in, I think, a Village of Outcasts, if I'm not mistaken, which we haven't talked about yet. But
so they're like banded enemies.
Yeah. Why they're working with a Hinox, I don't know. But
okay. So we're not in the. You don't think we're in the Dark World anymore? Is that what you're saying?
It's so hard to say because it's like they do this really strange thing. Link was in the Dark World, but then he woke up from the dream, and it's very strange. And then, Hyrule Castle crumbles to reveal the Pyramid of Power. Mm-hmm. So then he goes on his search, goes into a shrine, falls asleep, pretends like a tree's talking to him, wakes back up. All these things, really strange.
Gotcha.
How he's in the Dark World, but they make you think he's not.
It does say that Link just thinks it was a dream. It doesn't actually say that it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, he's still in the shrine because he has to leave it to be confronted. But
yeah, he's definitely in the Dark World.
So we've met the fairy now. Okay. Are you guys ready for the next section? Because I feel like we've kind of... Yeah. No, I feel like we're good here.
Yeah.
Meets a fairy. All right. So chapter 7, Zora's Mask, which sounds like we're going to start going some places. Let's see. Okay. Before Link has a chance to ask the fairy anything, she flies away and leads him to the Zora's Waterfall, where he encounters a Zola. What in the world is a Zola? All right. Thinking it
Zola is just a Zora, the race of people that we fought.
Okay. Thinking it to be a monster, the young hero tries to fight it, but the Zola thanks Link for having saved A4NB4Y, the fairy. Her name ends in Elda. Okay, anyway. Zola explains that he thought it was Romu, the knight who, with the Master Sword, scarred his forehead. After Link is healed by A4NB4Y, which is the sole reason the thieves of the Dark World desire her power. Wait. Okay, the creature... Okay, so yeah, sorry, let me rephrase that. After Link is healed by A4NB4Y, which is the sole reason the thieves of the Dark World desire her power, the creature introduces itself as Zora. He and A4NB4Y tell Link about the ruler of the Dark World and the usurper of the Triforce, Ganon, and how he sent Aghanim to Hyrule to do all the work for him since Ganon cannot leave the Dark World. With Aghanim's magic, he sent the maidens to the Dark World so Ganon could steal their power, which makes Link realize that Zelda is still alive. Knowing this, Zora tells Link that one of the maidens is imprisoned in the Palace of Darkness nearby. However, he warns the young hero of the explosive materials known as fire corn that are kept in there. Okay.
Heck yeah.
Link decides to go anyway, for he insists that he must rescue the maiden trapped in the crystal before leaving. Zora allows Link to take A4NB4Y as a guide and grants him the Zora's mask to disguise himself and not look so conspicuous as he is sneaking around the palace. Because, Zora's just frequent the palace all the time. All right, so anyway. The duo arrive at the Palace of Darkness and eventually reach the storeroom with the explosives. And although Link had been able to sneak around with the Zora's mask without being noticed, he is discovered by a Rocklops. The Rocklops warns Link of what could happen if he set off the fire corns in the palace, but the young hero disregards his warning and takes a Hinox's bomb belt that was wrapped around it. Okay. Link then stumbles into the imprisoned crystal but is attacked by a Gleeok that was called upon by the Rocklops. Although he defeats it easily with the Master Sword, soon more Hinox's riding Gleeoks begin to head towards him. Link gives A4NB4Y one of the bombs from the Hinox's belt, which eventually detonates the fire corn stockpile and destroys the entire palace. This allows the maiden to be freed from the crystal, who thanks Link and grants him a relic called the Com Fork. Before Link can ask her where Zelda is, the maiden disappears, and instead a knight appears in the rubble and demands that the young hero hand over the Master Sword. Okay.
By the way,
so okay, we're not even out of the Palace of Darkness yet.
No, but anyone who was wondering, oh yeah, he's just attacked by a Gleeok, no big deal. Then more Hinox is riding Gleeoks came in. Just for references of what a Gleeok is, it is a massive 3-headed dragon that shoots lasers out of its mouth.
Usually bosses in the game, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like if you guys ever played Phantom Hourglass, there's one of them in there. Oracle of Ages has one. It's just a massive, giant 3-headed dragon. And Link's like, Master Sword.
It almost sounded like a Rick and Morty skit after hearing Hinox and Gleeoks enough.
Yeah. So
and then
processing
the
a plumbus over here.
Comes in on the Gleeoks.
And he used the fire corn.
And he gets the Com Fork. It's great.
Item in the Link to the Past comic. Okay, what is it? It is a crystal tuning fork that, when vibrating, allows people to communicate with other beings that are in different worlds. All right, so this is how Sahasrara has been talking to us this whole time. He's got himself a com fork. Oh goodness. Okay. Wow. This is craziness. I'm trying to find it, see if there's a place where we leave the Dark Palace.
I think we can read a little bit into 8 up until the first paragraph.
For sure, we can read into 8. You want me to just continue on?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. The knight introduces himself as Rome, who challenges Link for the right to wield the Master Sword. He transforms into a monstrous eagle and proceeds to attack Link, who counters Rome's attack and defeats him. Rome apologizing for having misjudged Link and reveals to him that the ancient Book of Medora tells that the one who corrupts the Golden Land will be defeated with the Silver Arrow, the sacred item that Rome has been seeking. He continues to explain that he is a descendant of one of the Knights of Hyrule who was a master archer, and when he discovered that Aghanim was sending the 7 maidens to the Dark World, he sought after them through the portal near Death Mountain. Because he is in the Dark World, he is transformed into an eagle every time he engages in battle. Link, overjoyed that Rome is also a descendant of the Knights of Hyrule, begins to think that the two of them can join forces to find Zelda. Rome is shocked to hear Zelda has been transported to the Dark World, saying Link is too much of a weakling to wield the Master Sword and save the princess. The young hero tries to defend himself by saying that he has 3 pendants of virtue to prove his worth, but Rome is unimpressed and begins to walk away to continue searching for the Silver Arrow. Before disappearing, Rome tells Link that he senses they will have to join forces against Ganon and advises the young hero to stay alive until then. Let me see. After Rome leaves, the Comfork begins to ring, and Link sees an image of Sahasrahla and the rest of his friends back in Kakariko, where they are discussing an earthquake that shook the Eastern Palace. Although at first Sahasrahla disregards Link's voice as having been his imagination, Sahasrahla and the others eventually communicate with Link and discover that the Comfork allows them to speak with each other even though they are on different planes of existence. Link begins to tell his friends about his journey through the Dark World, and Sahasrahla begins to note similarities between the Dark World and Hyrule on his map of the land, leading him to discover that the Dark World is a warped reflection of the Light World, and that the two are somehow connected. He goes on to reveal that the Dark World reflects the inner contents of one's mind, and because the heart of the maiden Link rescued was so pure, she was trapped in a crystal, much like Zelda. Knowing this, A4NB4Y begins to ask her fairy friends if they've seen the princess, and one of them comments on how she overheard a monster talking about a girl imprisoned in a crystal near the Swamp Palace. And I think that's where we can end.
Yeah.
So interesting how... I mean, I know we just talked about the Rick and Morty skit, but like the fact that, there's another descendant of the Knights of Hyrule. So there were 2 eligible heroes here who may still have to team up and just be 2 heroes. 2 heroes.
Speaking of Rick and Morty.
And they fight, and Link wins, and then Rome is still like, you're too much of a weakling to wield that sword, even though he just lost the fight.
Well, I think because he's...
And then Link's even like, hey, I even got all these pendants and stuff. He's like, I just don't... Yeah, your sword, your little pendant... I need that arrow.
I think what Rome, if you like read the comic, the actual comic, not the summary, they sort of make it seem as if like Rome... If Rome was in his true knight form, Link would have lost, essentially, because he was an eagle or a bird, whatever. Yeah, eagle.
Yeah.
Then that's why he lost. So he's saying, like, if he was his true archer knight form, Link would have lost, essentially, which probably still is a lie, but,
That's kind of dumb, because you're going to have to fight Ganon in the Land of Darkness, so he's going to have to fight as an eagle anyways, so his power's been capped.
Yeah, it's pretty rough stuff. I mean,
no matter how strong he used to be, he kind of needs Link's help by the looks of it. If that's all he can do is Eagle Boy over here. Animorph, man.
It's funny that somehow the 2 of them seem to make the same mistake or something. Because, like, if I read that right, Zora the Zola had a scar on his head from when Rome came through with the Master Sword and injured his head. And then when Link saw Zora, he also was like, oh, that's a monster. I'm going to have to swing this sword. And then he's like, wait. I just wanted to thank you for whatever. And then, like, talks about the scar where A4NB4Y healed him after that whole incident. When did Rome have the Master Sword?
Yep.
Without the pendants of virtue and finding it, like, why would he just have had it at some point?
Your guess is as good as mine.
I don't understand.
Maybe he thought he had the Master Sword, but nah.
He had one of them fake ones.
Yeah, he went into the forest, and the first one he found, he's like, hey, I found it, and he just left.
This is strong enough for sure. Yeah. That
would be my guess. He runs around thinking he has the Master Sword, telling everyone, so the Zolo, only thinks he has the Master Sword, if anything. Either that or it's just a mistake, because that guy shouldn't have the Master Sword. It's been dormant for how long, and Link's the first one to grab it?
Right. If somebody had already taken it to the Dark World, then it wouldn't have been there for Link to get, and like none of the story would make sense.
Exactly.
Yeah. It could be very well that he just thought he had it, because he was a legendary knight.
Yeah. I mean, at first I was excited thinking like, oh, Rome was like the Link before Link, who was the last person to wield the sword. Which, also doesn't make sense because we've also read that when the sword was made, there was nobody to wield it, not until Link came around. But, that would have been a cool story to be like, oh yeah, the previous hero, like, cut me in the face, and also I'm, like, really old because I'm a Zola. So nice to meet you, new hero. Please don't cut me in the face. And also, here's a mask.
Also, I was thinking about renaming my entire race after myself. Thoughts?
Maybe try an R there, just Zora.
Just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? I like it.
And
But yeah,
he gets the Zora's mask, which is, probably it's a first instance of something like that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at
Too
this
bad it
comic
doesn't
definitely
transform you into a
of
Zora.
the Palace of Darkness. You see the moon with the face on it? Like, come on now. Tell me Majora's Mask didn't take inspiration from this nonsense.
But what's really funny though is I'll send you guys the actual picture of the mask from the comic. In Majora's Mask, he actually transforms into a Zora. You guys have to see this.
Okay.
It's going to be in the private chat.
Throwing it in
channel.
the private chat.
The moon reminds me of Soul Eater.
Oh no, it's the Swamp Thing. Oh no.
Oh, jeez.
It's so bad.
That's supposed to help him.
It looks like
blend
the Zora
in.
that gave us the flippers, and that's it. It doesn't look like the other.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I like how he
And
has
the
the
guide
same
fairy
frown
as
on his
well.
face in the background. He's like, okay, bye. And he just puts on a mask that's all sad. Like, yeah, that fits.
So
The-
Fonz, yeah.
The nose,
You're-
the bridge of the nose on the mask is like so big that it's distracting. He's going cross-eyed looking at it because it's just in the way.
I think you just pointed out Fonz too. So you notice how he has Ephemelda right next to him? This
Yeah.
is kind of like the setup for Navi, this story,
Yeah, there's a lot of these elements that come out in the games later on.
in this comic. It's pretty interesting. King or Rome, whatever his name is, later in Breath of the Wild was King Rome of Hyrule.
Rome boss from it. Yeah. Wow.
A lot of initials in this comic that you would think that it would have been something Nintendo like completely trashed every idea in, but they actually took a lot of the elements out.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is good stuffs. The tuning
Mhm.
fork thing is still killing me. The comm fork.
Sahasrahla thought it was his imagination.
Oh, I thought for a moment I heard Link. Nope, it's he actually did. He's talking to you from a different plane of existence. Why? Because he got a magic tuning fork. So he just dialed into your wavelength, like your station over there. Suck it.
So Hasrella is like sitting in his house. Honey, do you remember where the fork was bent to get to the Dark World's reality plane of existence? No, I don't. Maybe it was 45 degrees to the left? So dumb.
It's like Goku's instant transmission. He's like, I have to focus in on Sahasrahla's energy frequency. Ding.
Yeah, because tuning forks tend to only play one note. Like that's why they're tuning forks. You base whatever it is you're tuning off of the sound of the fork. So I mean, in theory, one comm fork would only be able to talk to one other plane of existence. But I think in the lore of this, there only is one other plane of existence. So I
But
guess
this
that
one's
makes
a
sense.
crystal tuning fork, so it's better.
How does it
doesn't
only
make
talk
it
to
very
Sahasrahla
cool.
too? That's the question. Like, is he talking to everybody on the planet? Because they're all in that plane of existence?
I don't know. The comm fork it says the comm fork begins to ring, and Link sees an image of Sahasrahla and the rest of his friends. So it's not even like he activated himself. It's like he got a phone call from another plane of existence.
You have one caller.
Yo, let me put you on interdimensional hold for a second.
Goes in and you see like the little image of Sahasrahla here on the panel that's in the article here. It's like, and the Eastern Palace was shaken by a quake that almost leveled it. Like he's just talking to the friends about like the earthquake is why he's not in the palace anymore.
And the tuning fork looks like a vanity mirror.
Except it does have like an open spot on the right, but yeah. Wow. All right. They just have like straight up dressers and like a little jewelry box and a framed picture in the room that they're all talking in. Seems a little bit out of era to like the robes and the clothes on the characters, but you know, whatever.
It happens.
Wow. Good stuff. All right. I think I'm good. I don't know what else we had to talk about, but we learned a lot. This is funny. There weren't too many extra items to get that I was able to find this time, so I really didn't do much of that. But yeah, I mean, at this point, I am, we started recording this maybe a day later than we thought we would. So, we were able to talk a little bit about like some of the other Zelda game news with Breath of the Wild getting delayed and stuff like that, and we talked about that before the episode. Originally, this is where I think we would have talked about it had we not already talked about it. But yeah, I've played our next episode's content already, and I'm ready to go for that in 2 weeks from now. So yeah. So yeah, everybody, this has been our episode of A for No, B for Yes. Sorry to kind of just have an abrupt ending, but they can't all be the subtle taper you're used to. So in this case, y'all have a good couple of weeks, and we'll catch you on the next episode where we will be covering the Swamp Palace. So catch us on that one. If you want to reach out to us, contact us, have any other comments, or if you've read the manga and you know more details about cool things that we don't get from reading the summaries, you can send us your comments at A4NB4Y@gmail.com or on any of our social medias at A4NB4Y. We'll put those links in the description as we always do, and we will catch you next time.
Buzzies.
Did you get all that?
I made another yummy shrimp dish tonight.
That Blue Apron?
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, I'm gonna save that. What'd you make?
What?
Sorry, I was working on the song too while I was here.
This song about getting the Master Sword and deleting dudes?
Did you want to hear it so far?
No, I want to save it. I want to hear it right before we release it.
It's gonna take me so it's an EDM-ish kind of song about getting the Master Sword, and I'm not gonna lie, like have the main beat that I want to use. It's just chopping it up to make it more vibey is difficult because dubstep is EDM is like very anti-beat. Like I can't stick to a beat to do that music. It's been really hard.
I feel like with like some of your intros and stuff, like you definitely like to bounce around with different rhythms.
Yeah. What kind of shrimp did you make?
You said yummy shrimp food.
It was I don't know if it's farro or farro, but Farro. It's like another grain, kind of like rice, with just a slightly different texture and color.
We call that
so
farro.
That was farro. Yeah. I never heard it actually pronounced.
It's fine. People are still having trouble pronouncing gnocchi, whatever.
Gnocchi.
Yep.
Gnocchi. And then it was some kind of pepper. It was a big green, looked like a chili pepper, but it wasn't really hot. It had like a sweetness to it, but not like a bell pepper. And then I had some jalapenos. It had some stuff like some raisins in there, which I left in because even though I don't like raisins, I was like, it'll probably mix in and I won't even notice, and I didn't. Had a bunch of cherry tomatoes. I ended up like squishing into it to make the sauce along with the oregano, and there was some onions. And then I cooked all that up and then put the shrimp on top of it and then put that on top of the farro with a little bit of lemon zest in it. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Nice.
Twas. Didn't take long either.
Hmm.
Lost about a third of my farro in the sink though.
Oh no.
Lesson learned. I don't have a proper strainer, so I was just using the metal topper for it to make a little crack to drain the water, and it slipped for just a second, and a bunch of it fell out. I was like, no.
Gotcha. Kate used to make these things, like it's like kind of a fall dish. So I say used to, but it's kind of a yearly thing now, where we'll take like an acorn squash. I think that's the one, the green one that like is, you know, kind of shaped like an acorn. At least I don't know what that one's called. I'm not good with squashes when it's not the season, but basically she cuts the top off, guts it out so that it's like a bowl, and then she'll fill it with ground beef and farro.
Stuffed squash.
Yeah, and make stuffed squash with farro and ground beef. It's so good.
So, stuffed peppers are delicious too.
Yeah, the
That sounds
squash
very
is nice because you can like, you know, the squash gets all soft and you just like take a scoop of all 3 ingredients and it's just amazing.
I don't know if it's like a northern thing where we're just from, or if I don't know, because
Yes.
we can all agree here that we just love like hearty meals, right?
Yeah.
You know, heartier the meal almost sometimes the better. Whether it's stuffed peppers, stuffed squash, chicken pot pie, any of those like hearty meals. People in Florida, I've noticed, don't eat meals like that.
Oh, you know,
Oh.
they're used to warmer weather, so that might have something to do with it. I don't know
It
if I'd be
might.
all for a stuffed squash if I was like on the beach in Miami, you know.
Sweating
Totally, man.
80% of your day.
It's just weird. It's like the food here. I don't know if around. I have a feeling Buffalo still hasn't caught into the game yet, but on here, everywhere you go, there's a tapas restaurant, and
No, we don't do tapas. Not as much. I mean,
you guys are just like me, the size of your stomach. Tapas does not do it for you.
I actually have a tiny stomach now. I couldn't even eat a small order of Chinese food the other day. I got full before I finished it.
because tapas, isn't that just like a blanket term for like hors d'oeuvres? It's like finger foods, right? I mean, that's
Yeah. So
when you travel abroad, they do that a lot in different places. Like that's one of the things that Italy is known for is their tapas. But it's
see, I don't like
taco.
tapas because you charge half to more the price of an entree for just one tapas, and they usually give you like, say you order Cheeto peppers or missing chips or fries or I don't know edamame. Like they give you a small amount because it's like because it's an only tapas place, you have to order like 8 tapas to feel full from just like instead of getting an entree. You spend way more than just ordering one entree, and I hate it because
yeah.
normal people eat like 2, 3 tapas and they're good. I have to eat like 8 in order for me to feel full.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's how I
guess-
feel about sushi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You pay like a full meal price for sushi, you need like 5. Sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt.
Exactly.
No, it's fine. I would say in Western New York they never call it tapas, but they do exist. Like it's just appetizers here, and
just
usually if you
apps.
order 2 of them, like you'll regret the rest of the meal that you bought because you get so much.
Yeah, they give you so much food. They don't do that here. A very rare, like there's a few Asian places here
Well,
that give you a buttload of food.
to be real, I mean Buffalo's such a comfort food city. We're foodies. Like that's what we do. It's like we just eat a bunch of really hearty. Like you get food coma after every meal when you eat out.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think having a colder climate has a lot to do with that. But you know, I'm not exactly.
Our bodies need more energy to keep warm.
I keep warm.
I'm not the right kind of professor for that. To know that for sure, but that's my guess.
I'm a body professor. I know exactly the ins and outs of everything body related. I know
I'm Professor
exactly
Bodyman.
what type of bodies need tapas and what bodies need hearty meals.
I have a master's in sociological and geographical nutrition.
It's like the sorting hat from Harry Potter. He just puts it on his head. He's like, tapa.
Are you? Oh, I
is-
sense Scandinavian food.
This is a Floridian variety of tapas. From the Keys, I take it.
Mm.
Oh, goodness.
What's radical is when I first moved to Florida, you hear about key lime pie, right? And it's like, key lime pie is so good.
Oh, yeah.
It's from the Keys, man.
Yeah. So when I moved there, I thought it was just like a play on the Keys. Because they have limes down there. So I thought it was just like that. They called it the key lime pie because Keys are known for their limes. Oh, it was from there, and I didn't realize that. I looked like an idiot.
Kind of like buffalo wings are from Buffalo.
Yeah. Because like there's a few foods that are like just named after something that isn't actually that thing, but nope, it's from the Keys. And lime pie isn't actually really that great. It's very traditional. I don't know. Like I feel like if you could go to like a supermarket, you get better key lime pie than actually going to the Keys. They don't add in sugars or it's all organic and like it's good, but not what you want when you want pie.
Well, we just grew up with the other version.
Yeah.
True.
I bet if you grew up in the Keys eating that, and then you went out and ate fake stuff, you'd be like, ugh.
It's kind of like how people like pumpkin pie. It's like you can have the traditional weighty pumpkin pie, or there's like that new modern light pumpkin pie that people have been making.
Really? I haven't heard about
seen
this.
that. What is this? Tell us.
Oh, it's made with pumpkin puree and whipped cream. Mix it together so it becomes a lighter consistency than like a thick whole hearty pumpkin pie. You
Like
mix
a
a little
whipped
milk in there
pumpkin
too.
pie, kind of?
It's like a whipped pumpkin pie, yeah. Very light.
Interesting.
That doesn't sound like it would be too bad.
It's not. It's just times you're just craving that big pumpkin pie, you know?
Yeah, I like my pumpkin
The
pies to be
consistency.
dense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. With some whipped cream on top and maybe a scoop of ice cream next to it.
There you go.
Oh.
A la mode that joint.
Mm.
Nothing will
I
ever
don't
take
know
the
why.
place in my heart of that banana cream pie, though.
I don't know why when you said a la mode, I just thought of al dente, and I'm like, cooking ice cream al dente.
Oh, no.
That would be hilarious.
Oh, goodness.